Hello guys, hello, and welcome to story time with Olivia. Today we're reading Sleep Big Bear Sleep. So let's get started. Alright. Old Man Winter from a storm cloud spied his big bear friend in the countryside. He leaned to the earth and softly sighed, "Sleep, Big Bear, sleep." Oh my goodness. Big Bear didn't hear very well. He couldn't sleep in his den in the in the dell. He thought he heard, as twilight fell, "Drive a jeep, Big Bear, drive a jeep." Oh my goodness. This is funny, ain't it, Orny? The Big Bear yawned as he drove around in a jeep on a road just south of town. But after a while he stopped in a park. An old man whispered as it grew dark, "Sleep, Big Bear, sleep." But Big Bear didn't hear very well, and he couldn't sleep in his den in the dell. He thought he heard, as dry leaves fell, "Sweet, Big Bear, sweet." Hope y'all are seeing this. So Big Bear went to a house down the street and swept each room so nice and neat. But after a while he yawned again. And Old Man Winter warned his friend, "Sleep, Big Bear, sleep." But Big Bear didn't hear very well. He couldn't sleep in his den in the dell. He thought he heard, as shadows fell, "Leap, Big Bear, leap." It's poor baby girl. So Big Bear leaped. So Big Bear found a frog he knew and played leapfrog while the cold wind blew, till all at once he fell to the ground. The wind through the trees was the only sound. The Old Man Winter said with a frown, "Sleep, Big Bear, sleep." But Bear didn't hear very well. He couldn't sleep in the den in the dell. He thought he heard his darkness as darkness fell. "Dive deep, Big Bear, dive deep." So Big Bear paddled to a clear blue lake, finding it hard to stay awake. Oh my goodness. He dove in deep and swam to the shore. He had never been so very tired before. This is hard to do, guys. I'm just gonna give a book. Oh my goodness. Okay. His head dropped down. He let out a snore, and Old Man Winter said once more, "Sleep, Big Bear, sleep." Big Bear didn't hear very well. He couldn't sleep in his den in the dell. He thought he heard the snow as snowflakes fell. Climb a mountain, sleep, Big Bear, sleep. Have y'all ever seen a book like this? This is crazy. I ain't never. Okay. So Big Bear trudged to the mountaintop where he could wind, where the cold wind blew and the temperature dropped. He sat on a stump on the highest spot and wished for a blanket to fold up cot. Then he stumbled back down, and with his eyes half shut, so tired he didn't know which end was up. Old Man yelled while shaking his head. Oh. Now, hey there, Bear. Did you hear what I said? It's winter time. Now go to bed. Big Bear's eyes were droopy and red. You could have told me that before, he said. He lumbered nearby in his cozy den, rubbed his eyes, and yawned again. He put on his PJs and blew out the light, and fluffing his pillows and said, "Good night." And that was the end of Sleep, Big Bear, Sleep. Just a moment, guys. Now we're reading Gray Squirrel at Pacific Avenue. This should be interesting. The October sun pours into the small backyard of the pink house on Pacific Avenue. A furry head pokes out of a nest, small leafy branches high in the live oak tree. Gray Squirrel has just woken up. He scurries out to a branch and startles a kinglet which flies away. Scratching his ear with his hind foot, Gray Squirrel watches white-crowned sparrows feasting on birdseed at the feeder below. A scrub jay screeches from a manzanita bush, nibbling his dark red berries. Gray Squirrel is hungry too. He leaps through the tree that frowns like an acrobat. The branches bob near under his feet. He hears the familiar bark of the brown dog that lives behind the fence in the yard. The next door Gray Squirrel rushes to the ground, spiraling down the trunk head first. Sparrows crowd the feeder, spilling a few seeds on the grass. Gray Squirrel finds some millet and munchies, but above him the feeder holds even more tasty seeds. He scrambles up the pole. The birds flutter away. One perches nearby and scolds him. Gray Squirrel dips his pointed nose in the birdseed and eats, scattering the seeds all too close to the perch's edge. He suddenly slips and loses his footing. He hangs onto the edge of the feeder with one paw. Dangling, he manages to reach with his other paw and pull himself back up. With his keen eye, he checks the backyard for predators. The yard looks empty. A Gray Squirrel jumps into the ground, but he has made a mistake. He comes nose to nose with an orange cat, who is hiding under a bush. The cat's tail twitches. Gray Squirrel bounds toward the oak. The cat springs, but just as he does, the Gray Squirrel leaps high onto the trunk. The cat sprints up the tree, but Gray Squirrel is gone. He has rocketed from a branched landing on the fence 5 feet away, into the next yard. He dives with quick breaths. Gray Squirrel darts across the strange lawn. Grrr. Behind him, the snarling brown dog stands ready to attack. The dog charges, but Gray Squirrel springs up an apricot tree. He hurries through the branches and bolts over the dog's head. onto the fence. Along the fence top he runs, finally leaping back to the oak in his yard. All this scurrying around hath made Gray Squirrel hungry. He hears a chipmunk rummaging for acorns in the dry leaves below. The cat is nowhere to be seen. Gray Squirrel scoots down to the oak and chases the chipmunk away from behind a rock. The chipmunk chitters at him crossly. Gray Squirrel snatches a shiny brown acorn in his paws. With sharp front teeth, he cuts the hard shell in half and the nut inside. Devours the nut inside. Sorry. After finishing 5 more acorns, he digs a little hole in the ground, drops in another acorn, and covers it with earth. He will save this nut for later. The afternoon sun is hot, and Gray Squirrel is full. He jumps onto the fence for a view of the yard. The orange cat is nowhere to be found. The next door brown dog has fallen asleep. Pigeons nibble politely at the fallen seeds. Gray Squirrel raises his tail over his head for shade. Then he licks his front paws and washes his nose and ears. He combs his fur with his teeth and claws. The backyard is at peace. Screech! The door flies open, and the pigeons scatter. Out of the house bounds the orange cat. On the fence top, Gray Squirrel freezes. His enemy spots him and pricks up his ears. He leaps onto the fence, ready for some fun. Gray Squirrel scratches from an escape. He springs to the oak, spreading all 4 feet wide. He flattens his body and stretches his bushy tail behind him. Like a parachute, he glides into a small branch and climbs to a higher limb. The cat jumps to the base of the tree, watching Gray Squirrel fluffs his tail, holds his straight up behind him, and quickly flicks it. Tuck, tuck. Tick, tick. He stamps to his feet. He stamps his hind feet. Oh my goodness. Okay. The orange cat crouches to spring up the tree. Ruff, ruff! The brown dog suddenly charges through a loose board he has discovered in the fence. The cat hisses, the dog growls. They whisk around the base of the tree until the cat makes a dash to the front yard. The dog follows close behind. The gray squirrel watches calmly from his lofty limb. He takes a deep breath, finding a comfortable spot. Gray Squirrel relaxes, spreading his body out on the branch with his tail wrapped over his back. Then he closes his eyes for a peaceful rest high in the live oak tree in the backyard of the pink house on Pacific Avenue. And that was the end of Gray Squirrel at Pacific Avenue. Alright, we got one more book, y'all. And yes, we're back to Disney, but it's not Pooh Bear. Okay, look here. It's the Little Mermaid. How cute. I was so excited when my husband found this at the library. And Olivia loves The Little Mermaid. So let's get started. Just a moment. Sebastian, the court composer, had planned royal concert. It was in honor of Triton, the Sea King, and all his daughters were to sing. But Ariel, the daughter with the most beautiful voice, hadn't shown up. Triton was losing his patience. Ariel, he called. Ariel could not hear her father. He was busy exploring a sunken ship. The Little Mermaid wanted to know all she could about the creatures called humans. Oh my gosh. Ariel cried. She held up a fork. Have you ever seen anything so wonderful in your life? But what is it? Her friend Flounder asked. Ariel and Flounder went to ask Scuttle, the seagull. They found him perched on his favorite rock. It's a dinglehopper, he said, with certainty. Humans use these little babies to straighten their hair out. And Ariel was fascinated. Now she knew one more thing about humans. Later that day, Ariel was human watching. She spotted a handsome young man on a ship. As soon as Ariel laid eyes on Prince Eric, she fell in love. But soon a storm began to rage. The ship was in trouble, and Prince Eric was trying to steer through the storm when a bolt of lightning flashed. The ship's sail caught fire. Rough waters. Rough waves tossed the ship back and forth. Eric went flying into the sea. I must save him, cried Ariel. She dove underwater and pulled the prince safely ashore. Prince Eric was very still for a long time. Scuttle wasn't sure if he was alive, but suddenly Ariel saw his chest move up and down, up and down. Look, he's breathing, Ariel cried. She began to sing a love song to him, but was soon interrupted by Prince Eric's dog Max. Ariel hurried back into the water, but with Flounder by her side, she headed for home. When King Triton found out Ariel was in love with a human, he became very angry. He destroyed her collection of human objects and told Ariel she could never see the prince again. Ariel was very sad. She went to the sea witch, Ursula, for help. The only way to get what you want is to become a human yourself, Ursula explained. The plan sounded simple enough. Ursula would turn Ariel into a human for 3 days. If Ariel could get the prince to kiss her, she would remain a human forever. If not, she would turn back into a mermaid and belong to Ursula. But there was a price for Ursula's magic. What I want from you is your voice, the evil sea witch demanded, because she was in love with Ariel. Because she was in love, Ariel agreed. With a swirl of her magic potion, Ursula took away Ariel's voice and dropped it into a seashell locket. Ariel looked down where her tail used to be. She had legs. Flounder quickly swam her up to the surface. Prince Eric had recovered nicely by the time Flounder dragged Ariel to shore. When the prince saw Ariel, he did not know that she was the one who had saved him. Without her voice, Ariel couldn't sing to him or tell him who she was. But Prince Eric liked Ariel very much. He took her rowing. At twilight, Triton had asked Sebastian to watch over Ariel, so the crab tried to help things along. He led Scuttle and his friends in a romantic song. Kiss the girl, they sang. But the prince did not kiss Ariel, not on the first day, nor on the second. On the third day, Scuttle surprised Ariel with the news that Prince Eric was getting married on board the wedding ship. Everyone was busy getting ready, including Vanessa, the bride-to-be, who was singing happily. Scuttle had heard her beautiful voice and flew down to the ship. Looking through a portal, he saw Vanessa look into the mirror. "It's the sea witch!" Scuttle cried. He flew off for help as quickly as he could. In no time, sea creatures and birds rushed to the ship and began to attack Vanessa.